It's already started. I'm sorry, guys, because I'm not sure whenever it's actually loaded or not. Dun, 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 dun. All right, should be good. Okay, so howdy, folks. Um, I'm Jim over here at RPG Enlightenment, and today I want to talk to you about a system that I've been working on. It's an RPG system, um, and it's called Advantura. Originally, it was going to be a book that I was writing, and I kind of got writer's block real bad. And it was at the same point in time when I was getting big into Dungeons and Dragons and started learning more about RPGs. So I figured, hey, why not? Let me translate it over to our Dungeons and Dragons terms. So I did all that, and then I was like, well, this isn't really helping because it's not the way I intended it to be. It's not the same magic system. It's not all those kind of things. So I decided, why not make my own system? And that's what I've been working on. Well, really, it's not been all that long. It's been less than a year, probably the past 6 months. But it's actually coming along pretty well. So I just wanted to, I'm about to be doing my first playtest, and I wanted to put out there, some content for it so that the guys over at Absolute Tabletop, the Facebook group, not the actual Absolute Tabletop, that would be awesome. No, the Facebook group, Absolute Tabletop, they some guys over there, some buddies of mine, are going to help me play test it in a couple months, couple weeks, something like that, once it's really ready to go. And so I decided to put this out, not only to let some viewers know about it, because it's a video I've wanted to do for a while, but to let them know about it, because it's kind of hard to explain things through like text and Facebook and stuff like that. We're not always able to get on Hangouts and stuff to talk. So I just want to go through real quick and explain a couple things to you, explain the world, some of the mechanics, things like that. Hopefully this isn't a super long video. If it's not too long, I maybe kind of go through how to make a character and stuff. But let's go ahead and get started. So first I want to talk to you about what Advantura is. Advantura is the name of the system, but it's also the name of the world. Mostly because I haven't come up with a name that I like yet. So it may change. The name of the system, though, is Advantura. Obviously, adventure, Advantura. I don't know if that's funny or not. Hopefully it is. But what it is it is a super high fantasy world. Lots and lots and lots of magic. It's incorporated to everyday life. And it's done this through what's called casting. And casting is what magic is. The word magic actually never comes up. And if it does, it's kind of used as the definition for casting, but otherwise it's called casting. They don't say, oh, you're doing magic. Oh, you're doing casting. Thus, characters are called casters. And the reason for this is because everyone is born with a natural affinity to one of the castings, which there are several, and I'll go over those in a little bit. But everybody's born with at least one of them. There are rare cases where somebody might have 2 or 3 natural castings, which just means it comes easier to them than another type of casting. So I guess that's the perfect point to go over, the different kinds of casting. Hopefully I'm not going like super fast. But so different kinds of casting are mineral, which is like earth, but it's more than just like the dirt. It can be silver, it can be gold, it can be platinum, it can be all these different kind of minerals, iron. It can be different minerals that are found in the earth. So one mineral caster might, which is what they're called, it's the type of casting caster. So mineral caster. One mineral caster might be like, oh, I use gold for everything. Just my armor. When I make armor using my casting, I make it out of gold. Some might just use simple stones, which is a mixture of different minerals. But they like stone. They like it, maybe the way it looks, feels, something. For some reason, they use stone. And let me back up a little bit. What a casting was the manipulation of an element. And it allows you to literally manipulate every aspect of that element. Of course, there's restrictions based off of in the world, not mechanic-wise, but in the world, based off of experience. If you don't practice, you don't train, you don't advance in it. So obviously, because this is something they're born with, at least if you're, in this case, a mineral caster, you're born with the natural affinity to manipulate the minerals of the earth. So it just comes easier to you. For some reason, it clicks in your head. And I really hope I'm looking at y'all, because I'm looking at the camera and I can't see here. So, but yeah. So yeah, mineral casting. That's one of them. It's actually the first one I came up with, probably because I like mineral stuff a lot. I like the concept of earth as an element. So I've actually created, using my my system, I've created a play test character that was a mineral caster, and that was pretty cool. Then we've got, going down a list, we got air. Air is just is actually more of air current. So you're able to increase or decrease the air current. So pushing, pulling, lifting, pushing down, things like that. And of course, being a natural air caster, that comes easier to you. You can learn other castings. It's quite possible to learn other castings. It's just one in particular comes very natural to you from birth. So as you grow up, you kind of learn how to use this element just because it's natural. Then let's see, we got flame, which is fire. So you're controlling not only like the flames themselves, but heat as well. Then you've got water, which is any kind of liquid. Then lightning, which is mainly just static electricity, but it also can create actual lightning bolts and things like that. But a big focus on it is static electricity within the body. Sound, which is manipulating sound waves, increasing or decreasing the pitch, frequency, things like that of those, and being able to do things through that. I would save that one for last because that one's complex. I'm going to go light. Well, actually, controlling light and the light spectrum, which is actually pretty interesting. That's the last one I did. Well, I'm almost finished with it. I just got to a point where it's almost done, and it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought that one was going to be really hard. I'm like, what the fuck can you do with light? So that was pretty cool. Then I was able to come up with some stuff for that. Shadow casting, which is the opposite of light. It is manipulating the shadows and things like that. The last one is called spirit casting. And spirit casting it's pretty interesting because it's manipulating energy. It's the manipulation of energy. And it's mainly the energy within yourself and within others. So it actually falls into two different kinds of categories, or two kinds of categories. Anyway, comes into two different categories. So there's spirit casting life and spirit casting death, which kind of is just broken down into life casting and death casting. And basically what that is life casting is all about healing, and death casting is more about taking from others to heal yourself. It's not so much, oh, I'm going to help you, friend. It's kind of the situation. I don't have to run faster than the bad guy. I just have to run faster than you. So, he's always going to, normally death casters are always going to help themselves. They don't, not always, but that's kind of their mentality. The interesting with spirit casting is when you're when you take that as your natural casting, which we'll go over later, is that you can actually choose. At each level, you choose different abilities, and at each level, you can choose. They give you the option to choose, or I give you the option to choose a life casting ability or a death casting ability. So you can go through and one level choose life and one level choose death. That's perfectly fine. It's basically the same concept, the manipulation of energy. One just gives, one takes. So that's that. No. The next, and actually it's more of the biggest, not so much the next, because it's the first concept I came up for with Advantura. It's really what I based the entire thing on, which I knew I probably should have gone over that first, but I thought that that was a better way to kind of introduce what's going on here, is religion. And I did it at the time because religion is a very controversial, controversial, I don't even know, you know what I mean. It's a very, heated debate nowadays, and at the time when I started working on the story, which was probably 7 years ago, give or take. So it was just a big influence on me. Like, there's all these religions out there. What I want to portray that in some way, that there are all these different kinds of religions. So I came up with my own religions, and that was the basis for of what the story, or how the story takes place, because religion is very important in Advantura, to the point where it runs your everyday life. Not so much as like the where, oh, I have to go to church on Sundays, or I have to pray this many times a day. It's not things like that. It is, but it's more extreme than that. It's to the point where, for example, I'll go through some of the religions, or I'll probably try and go through all the religions, but the first one is just a really good example, which is, yeah, they're so detailed, guys. I really do have to go to it, even though I created it. No. Well, the first one, while I'm going to it, is the religion of war, and it is run by Falsi, who is the goddess of war. And when you choose to be in this religion, everyone chooses this religion at a certain age, or chooses a religion at a certain age. You are trained in the religious ways, in the God's teachings. And so, for the example of the extremeness of this, you were taught from a very young age, 10-ish, that you are never to back down, ever. If somebody challenges you, you fight to the death. And something that's interesting about my system is that it's really up to you how you take that. You can take a challenge as verbal, no, I will not back down, physical, pushing you, or just simply, I took the last apple from the basket and you wanted it. It's a challenge. If your character sees that as a challenge, or if the person in the world sees that as a challenge, they're going to fight you for it. Big thing is, unless you back down. If you back down, you concede defeat, then it's all good. They've won. It's cool. So that's kind of what I mean by it's taken to extremes. There are certain teachings that, you follow. And there's 10 major religions. I forgot to mention that. Well, not major. There are 10 religions. Each one has its own god or goddess. Falsi is the goddess of war. And each one has a religious leader. This is either the person that best shows the qualities of that religion, and is voted for, kind of like running for president, is voted for. Each one has its own different style of how somebody is elected. But for example, in the war religion, it is about defeating the previous religious leader, which obviously is not easy to do. because this religious leader beats this religious, or this person beats this religious leader, so obviously they were stronger. Then this one beats that guy, and then this, and it just keeps going until you got a super strong guy. But they're kind of like the Pope to the Catholic Church. They oversee everything, and they are stationed in a religious capital, which are in 10 different points of the world. The war religion, their capital just happens to be in the desert. So I won't go into everything. I'm really trying not to. It's just a lot to talk about, and I'm really excited. So yeah, there's that. There's that religion. Then there's the god of the earth, Watar, and Watar is, or the earth religion is all about balance and all about equality, and you reap what you sow. A lot of them are farmers. Think of like a monk is a very good way to depict these guys. People that follow this religion are very big into to mind, body, spirit, enlightenment. That's what they're all about. They actually have to meditate several times a day, just as part of their religion. The next one is Shiva. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. I was getting the Hindu god. I believe it's Hindu. Mostly because that was inspiration for this goddess, Shanvi, which is the goddess of knowledge, and this religion is all about the preservation of knowledge, books, songs, just everything, word of mouth, historical items, relics, things like that. They're very big into it. They will not stand for any kind of destruction of history, and they believe that knowledge is power. So they're all about the learning. Oh, I should probably tell y'all that Watar, his religion, the religion of the earth, is their capital is in a foresty area. Then the religious capital for the goddess of knowledge is what's called the Ingel Islands. The Ingel are a race, and we'll go into that later. But it's basically just this large chain of islands, and their religious capital is there. Just like, oh, I guess I couldn't I? I could just go up to the top. I should have done that and look at my index. Oh, smart move, Jim. All right. Okay, cool. Now, there's Iana, who is the goddess of the wilds, and it's all about nature, not so much earth, which earth is balance. Nature is about plants and animals, and peace, love, and happiness. Very much a hippie kind of religion. And she is actually the twin sister of Watar. And so, yeah, there's a lot of actual relationships because all the gods are actual beings. They're not metaphors. They're real. And at one point, they lived with their people until something happened and they left. But yeah, the goddess of the wilds religion, Iana's religion, is their capital is in a jungle, very tropical rainforest kind of place. Then we got TL, who is the god of justice, and I did a semi playtest during the time period when I translated this over to 5th edition D&D, and we actually went to their capital. I was DMing for the group, and one of my players ended up getting on the wrong side of the religious leader here, and it was very bad. Very bad. They're very strict. The God of justice does not stand for lawbreakers at all. You don't do it. If you consequences, like major consequences, not okay. And I tried to stress that to him. Like he's like, okay, do I know about this religion? Yes, you know about it. Don't do anything messed up. And he's like, okay. And then starts talking about he's the prophet. No. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, so, no lying, no stealing, no murder without just cause, things like that. They're based in the name of their religious capital is Corluptus. And the only reason I would say that is because it's not really based in like a super defined area. It has coast on one side, like one side of it is complete coast, and on the other sides, it is all mountain range. So they're completely like encircled by something. There's no just land way, this easy way to them. You either gotta come by sea or you gotta go over the mountains. And it's the biggest city in Advantura. So let's see. Next we got Aaliyah, which is the goddess of the ocean. So kind of guess. She's also the goddess of storms. And so theirs is actually on this like half submerged island. It's an island, but most of the city's actually underwater. It's kind of like built into the I don't even know. As this island goes down, like the underwater caves and things like that. It's all part of the city. So yeah. So that's, it's all based around. Actually, we looked at pirates a lot for the inspiration for this religion. Defend what's yours. You have a code of honor. Everything is fierce in its own right. Don't go picking a fight with a octopus because you think it looks cute and cuddly and you can take it, because it will kill you. So, true story, bruh. So yeah. Then we got Pikel, who is the god of illusions. It's the god of all lies. But in the form of deception, which is a little bit not so much different than lies. Lies are, I view it as different, because deception can be the withholding of information. Lies are just straight out, hey, my skin is blue. Yeah. So, I think that they're different. Yeah, so he's the god of deception, not so much lies. He's based, or their religious capital is based in what's called the Unreal Realm. Not a lot's known about it, because there's this permanent mist and fog that just has always been there for some reason. Ever since Pikel, the god, was on Advantura, ever since he walked the earth, this mist was there for some reason. And that's where they ended up making their capital. You have the White Queen, which is the goddess. She's also known as the Mother Goddess, because she actually gave birth to the other gods and goddesses. She's the first. But it's this weird timeline kind of thing where she was created and then the others were created from her, kind of Adam and Eve story. They were created from her. They were her different aspects. And then she taught them, and then they went on to teach everyone else. So she's really just the mother goddess. She's looked at her religious capital is in Skycrew, which is a tundra area, and the capital is actually way up in the mountains, kind of like a Mount Everest kind of situation, like Himalayas, crazy. So yeah. Then Valsesis, which kind of a weird name, hard to say, so it may change. Don't know. I like it. It's been that way since I think like 7 years ago. And he's the keeper of the dead. He's actually like the only god or goddess that doesn't have god or goddess in his name, because literally he is the keeper of the dead. He's looked at. He is treated as a god, but he doesn't have so much divine intervention mythology or belief. He literally transports your soul to the underworld, which is it's not so much hell, because you always go to the underworld whether you're good or bad. But and then overworld is kind of like heaven, but that's where the gods live. Except for Valsesis and the next god. They're the only two that live in the underworld. But yeah, so he's the keeper of the dead. Kind of inspired by Anubis. It's kind of a way to look at him. Then there's Axlios. And he's the god of sacrifice, which is kind of weird because sacrifice is not something you normally think of, at least me and some of the people I talk to. It's not what you think of whenever you think of like gods. Whenever you think of gods, you think, okay, you got knowledge, cool, justice, cool, the dead, awesome. But sacrifice, what's up with that? It's believed that he created pain, the actual feeling of pain, that before him nobody felt pain. But he created pain to separate the weak from the strong. And he actually created the underworld. And then, Valsesis went down and was like, hey, I'm taking this over, and we're going to keep the dead here. So, but yeah, I actually like Axlios a lot. He's pretty cool. Just the concept and his backstory and some of the things involving his religion. But moving on. So that's the religions. 10 of them. And sorry if that took forever. Like I said before, I'm pretty excited about this. This is something, a video I wanted to do for a while. This is something I want to talk to people about. Doom. All right, let's go to races. Completely new set of races. You're going to see some kind of like trope concepts. It's impossible to avoid. You're never going to come up with something 100% unique. Although one, I think I did. Probably not, though. But so let's go with the simplest, which is the humans of my world, of Advantura, are not called human. They are called Dunkim. 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 And they're humans. It's just a different name for them. So simple. Bam, boom. Then we have Engel, which, if you remember back to Ashanvi, the goddess of knowledge, and the Engel Islands is where her capital is. The Engel, most of them live there. They think that they're higher than everybody else, but they are the evolutionary, not predecessors. They are the next step in the evolutionary chain from Dunkim, from humans. They're generally a little bit slimmer, a little bit taller, and they have wings. Originally, they just had angel wings, but then I thought it was really cool. What if, so depending on where you lived or your ancestors lived as Dunkim, because they're all over the world, you develop different kinds of wings. So, one person might have these great, majestic angel wings, and then somebody else might have fucking butterfly wings. That's kind of cool. Somebody might have bat wings. Yeah. So, I thought that was pretty cool. And they're also a little bit more intelligent. They have a larger brain. Their head isn't like alien big or anything, but they just have a larger brain. So they're able to comprehend a little bit more and remember more and understand. So a lot of them kind of lean towards the goddess of knowledge. Just it kind of suits them. They're able to understand more, so they do that. Doesn't mean you have to. Does not mean you have to. But going on, there's the Raptora, which is essentially a lizard man. But there's a bunch of different kinds. It's just reptiles. The Raptora come in different kinds of species. So you can get like cobra, python, crocodile, turtle, things like that. There's like a whole list of them that you can choose from, and they give you different aspects and abilities and appearance, things like that. Yeah. There's the Tedium, which are my version of dwarves. Something that was really cool that my wife helped me come up with was that the Tedium were not always dwarf-like. They were originally giants. They were what we know as giants. Until, they began rampaging and they were going to destroy everything. So a group of casters got together and they shrunk them down, just to keep them a little bit more manageable. But they kept their strength and their weight. So these guys were really small, but really strong and really heavy. So it didn't help too much, but it did help a little bit. Because, they move a little bit slower now. But that's them. That's the Tedium. I'll save my favorite race, or the ones that I think is unique. There's the Aquarians, which are what are they? Tridon? The from Volos in 5e, the like mer people. They're not mer people. They're not. I even told myself earlier I'm not going to call them mer people, but they are another evolutionary branch from the Dunkim, the humans. They have gills, so they can breathe underwater. They're normally light dark blue or light dark green skin color with dark hair, slightly bigger eyes, things like that. One thing that really stands out, though, about these guys are what's called their fisherman's hook. And that's because it's on their wrist. They have this bone protrusion. And it comes in a bunch of different shapes, sizes. You could have one that's this long. Doesn't matter. It's all flavor at that point. But something unique about this is that they can shoot it out. Very quick speed. Kind of like a harpoon sort of thing. But it's got a vein or cord-like vein that's very strong, but can be cut. And it would hurt them. But it's very strong, that shoots out with it attached to the end. And so they can fish with it. They can use it to attack, things like that. Like I said, there's different sizes, different shapes. You could have one that's straight. You can have this like arrowhead. You can have one that's a hook, one that hooks this way. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. But they only have one of them, not on both hands, just one. Last one are the Pupan. Pupan. Yes, it sounds a little weird. But they're also called dolls. And this is because they are artificial beings. Completely made. The Dunkim actually made them, because in this world, Dunkim are sick fucks. So, so they were used as slaves, servants, and they were viewed to have no opinion whatsoever. They didn't have a mind. They didn't have a soul. They didn't have a heart. Nothing. And they had this rune on them that controlled them, made them obedient. Well, something happened, and one of the Pupan, their rune got broken. It got scraped off of them, so they became sentient. And all hell broke loose. They started going around taking the runes off the other ones, and it was just crazy. Something that's interesting about the Pupan is they kind of look like a mannequin. I'm trying to think, if you know those little figurines for drawing that are faceless and they're just these joints that you can pose. It's pretty much what they look like. They have no actual form, or not. They have no features. So something that was built into them was the ability to change their appearance based off of what their master, the one that created them, wanted, or the one that bought them. And so they can be tall, thin, fat, male, female, doesn't matter. They can be blue or red, doesn't matter. However their master wanted them to look. Once they became free, it's however they wanted to look. They can take the shape of and look of any race. They can take features from this one and that one, and real weird. So it's kind of cool. It's an interesting concept. But yeah, so those are the 6 races that are in this world. There are more, but I'm not going to go over those because those are non-playable races. Oh, something I did forget to go over because I didn't write it down. So going back to casting, real quick, there's the different kinds. You got the mineral, air, flame, water, lightning, sound, spirit, life and death, light, and shadow. Those are natural castings. Those are ones that people are born with. There are 3 Three, yeah. Yeah. 3 others. Had to think about that. There are 3 others that. Sorry, doing a lot of talking. There are 3 others that were I guess created afterwards, later on in life, or in the life of Advantura in game, and those are summoning, rune, and incantation. Go with the simplest first. Incantation, at least in my opinion. Those are verbal spells. Those are spells. That's it. You just have to learn and memorize these spells. Downside to this is the fact that if you get it wrong, you kill yourself. There's backlash from getting these things wrong. So it's a lot of practices involved with this. Runes. Runes are runes. They're symbols that hold magical energy, purpose. It's actually the language of divinity, the language of gods, which is kind of where these runes get their power from. It's the first language ever. There's no real big backlash with these. Just the fact that you can get them wrong very easily if you don't draw it quite perfect or very perfect. If it's just a little bit off, it's not quite right, it won't work. And summoning. Summoning's cool. I actually got the concept from the anime Naruto. If you're familiar with that, you know the summoning jutsu. And you know you can summon animals and weapons and even people. So it's broken down. Buddy of mine, Dave, kind of helped me break this one down. And he, shout out to Dave Owens. Woo! So he helped me come up with, there's organic, which are animals, plants, and people, things, beings, creatures, things like that. And inorganic, which are items, weapons, armor, things like that. You can choose one or the other, both. It doesn't matter, but you know, the more you choose, the more time it takes to learn and get. Especially with items and stuff, you have to kind of use them more unless you kind of create this bond with them. With organic, you actually have to have a bond, an unspoken bond with this other living creature. Kind of like, you know, your dog. You know, you spend all this time with your dog, and you love each other. Woo! So now you can summon him. Pretty cool. From anywhere in the world. There's also semi backlash with this because if for some reason the animal or the item can't come, won't come, then you're taken to it. Or some other effect happens. There's actually a chart for it. But yeah, that won't be in the playtest. So if you're going to be in the playtest, I'm not doing incantation, rune, or summoning because those are really advanced mechanics, and I'm still working out the kinks. Yeah, so that's that. Sorry, guys. Going back. Woo! What's next? The last thing is that I kind of want to talk about is some of the mechanics that are different because especially for my playtesters, this is a big video for you. Some is different. You're going to come into this thinking because there is something called AC, which is armor class. You're going to see that, and you're going to think D&D terms, or even Pathfinder. I've never played Pathfinder, but I think it's semi the same. But yeah, it's different in the fact that it's not so much a set number that your opponent has to beat to hit you. It's a modifier. So if you have an AC of +3, it adds to your defense roll, which goes into attack rolls and defense rolls. And what this is you have a D20 for the attack roll and a D20 for the defense roll. The attacker is going to roll, and you are going to roll, being the defender. Highest number wins. Simple as that. So, you know, you have an attack bonus because of this, this, and this. So you have a +3. You roll a 1. Which ones in this game are critical fails? So you I don't know. I'd probably give the other person an attack of opportunity or something. Okay, so you roll 19 +3. That's what, 21, 22, 22. All right, so you say you got a +5 AC, and you got a 10, so it's 15. Obviously, the attacker wins. So, however you play it out, you went to try and dodge, or you tried to block, or they still got around your defense. And that's how everything is done. Everything is opposed, which I think is, my wife actually came up with that. So, credit to her. That, it's really interactive. You're constantly having to roll. It's the same thing for saving throws. So, if I do something to you that does damage, okay, so we roll, and I win as the attacker. So I hit you with damage. But if a side effect of this damage is that you have to make a Constitution saving throw, once again, it's your roll versus my roll, and I roll again, adding my appropriate modifiers. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And was there anything else? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, yeah. Flavor and uniqueness. Let me say that because I think I went a little bit high pitched there. Flavor and uniqueness. Now just kind of like the way it sounds. Flavor and uniqueness. Anyway, that was kind of creepy. It's the name of the game. Add flavor to everything. Everything. I don't care if you're jumping over a rock. You did a backflip off that rock. Flavor's cool. Flavor's fun. Everybody loves flavor. So that's something I wanted to incorporate in this, is everything can be flavored. And then uniqueness. This is going more towards the character's design and things like that, that when you design a character, I have it set up so that I can have 4 players. Just pick a random one. We went with Mineral the first time. Let's go with Mineral. That are all mineral casters. Okay. So they all control minerals in the earth. Actually, let's go, because I already explained that, you can do gold and silver and all that. So let's cancel that one, because that's obviously you can do different things. Let's go with lightning. Lightning. It's just lightning. So you have 4 lightning casters. Let's say they're all from the war religion. And they're all Duncan. They're all human. Okay, so you got human lightning casters that are from the war religion. All 4 of those characters can have completely unique abilities. 100% unique. They can each choose a different kind of ability, because at each level, every time you level up, there's 4 abilities to choose from. You choose one, and that's your ability. That's something you've learned to do. So let me go through real quick. Let me think about it. Because I got to figure out what everything that I've made. So like flame casting. One of the first level you learn how to manipulate that element. Second level is when you really get to choose an ability. So one of the abilities is gauge for flame casting, and this is being able to tell the exact temperature of things around you. And boom, done. Now I can now look at this and tell you how hot it is or cold it is, the exact temperature, which kind of sucks because there's alcohol in this and it's warm. So yeah, completely unique. And I love that. I love the fact that that was something that I really wanted to make, was that when you're creating a character, you can be completely different than the other guy that's playing the exact kind of character you are. You have completely different abilities. So you're both good at different things. Same thing like AC. AC in D&D is based off of your, like, the type of armor you're wearing and your dexterity modifier. In this, you can base it off your dex, your constitution, or your wisdom. And the reasons for that, and then this will be it. And then I'll make another video on creating a character tonight or later. Is that you can... So, dexterity. You're dodging. doing a split and ducking under something, you're sliding under tables, you're backflipping out of the way, something like that. Constitution, you're a big, hardy man or woman, and you're just gonna stand there and let them hit you, but it's not gonna like do anything to you. You got muscles of steel. Flavor wise, though, you could be the skinniest person in the world, and just somehow you're just taking this damage. Anyway, that's what Constitution AC does. And then Wisdom is being able to read your opponent. So you're reading their body language, reading their movements, memorizing what they're doing, and then you're able to react kind of before they even know what they're doing. Totally pulling a Kakashi from Naruto with the Sharingan and stuff. Huge Naruto fan in case you can't tell. So yeah, I know I went over a lot. I know I bombarded y'all, but I thank you for watching if you watched this far. If you'll, down below in the comments, tell me what you think. Give advice, say that you hate it, say that you love it, sounds interesting, sounds like shit, doesn't matter. Just say something. Like, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see y'all next time whenever I think next video I'm going to make is making a character. And then maybe y'all will come watch my playtest. I'm going to just record that, stream it live, and hopefully you'll be there. Till then, guys, signing out, and may you always seek enlightenment.